Do you want to improve your focus and productivity and get the best results of whatever you're working on? Well, you might be surprised that the secret isn't working harder, it's actually all about thinking less. Now, we have an estimated 70,000 thoughts every single day, and these can involve making decisions in the moment, like which mug you're going to choose for your morning coffee, or what clothes to put on for work. But a lot of the time, these thoughts pop into our brains unrelated to what we're working on and cause distractions, and often we don't even notice that the way we think colours how we experience the world. Rather than staying in the present moment, we think about the past or what might happen in the future and just massively overthink things to the point that we lose time, focus, and we don't enjoy what we have right now. And this is something called cognitive fusion, where we buy into every thought that passes through our mind. It's when you think something and without questioning or noticing it, you just believe it at face value. So in today's video, we're going to talk about recognizing all of our thoughts and separating ourselves from them, and then selectively choosing which thoughts or beliefs you want to act on instead of letting random subconscious thoughts dictate your mood, your choices, and ultimately your happiness. So before you even have a chance to think about it, do hit that subscribe button, and let's start things off with a quick short story about my own overthinking. Now, as a medical student and then as a doctor, I sat loads and loads of exams, and I used to get randomly worried thinking about what might happen if I failed. I remember when revising for finals, this overthinking interrupted my studying so much that I lost focus and study time for a few hours, which totally sucked. After the exam was over, I'd think back through all the questions and be like, yep, I've definitely messed that one up. And these thoughts meant that even after I'd finished something like an exam or a test, I still wasn't happy as I was thinking about the past rather than celebrating the fact the exam was over. Overthinking something, whether it's opinions, situations, or people's actions, can cloud our judgment. It prevents us from acting, it invades our minds with negativity, and it deteriorates our happiness. We try to figure out whether that decision we made was correct or not, and keep pondering over and over for such a long period of time that we get irritated and annoyed. In the process, we get distracted from the present moment and the most important things, and our thoughts start to impact our emotions and actions. While everyone overthinks situations sometimes, some people continuously have thoughts rehearsing every conversation they have, second-guessing their every decision, and imagining the worst outcomes. Now, the problem with overthinking is you might not even know that you're doing it, or you might be so used to daydreaming and thinking about things that you just think it's normal, like I used to. So what are some of the main signs and symptoms that you're overthinking so that you can start to catch yourself in the act? Well, you might have catastrophic predictions about unlikely events in the future that haven't even happened yet, and that leave you unable to enjoy the present. You might be beating yourself up about should-haves and could-haves, and you're just unable to get past them and move on. Like, man, I wish I'd invested in crypto sooner, or, oh man, I'm going to lose all my crypto as it's crashing. You might be replaying every interaction and social situation back in your mind and be worrying about what others think about you. Or if you need to make a decision, you replay all the options in your head, meaning that you're so afraid to take the wrong action that you end up doing nothing at all. All of these things are linked to negative self-talk, where your thoughts can lead to you feeling stressed, distracted, and even depressed as you replay the worst-case scenarios again and again in your mind. Now, the causes of overthinking have varied, with some relating to our own personality and upbringing, like for example if your parents are overthinkers, or overthinking can happen in certain circumstances, like when you're tired or just really stressed. So let's take a look at some of the common causes of overthinking to see if you can relate, and then we'll look at how to reduce overthinking next. Now, studies show that sensitive people have more brain circuitry and neurochemical activity in areas related to mental processing. This means their minds not only take in more information, but also process that information in a much more complex way. So if you're a high achiever who considers things in a thoughtful manner, like say a doctor, you're actually more likely to overthink things. We all make hundreds of decisions a day, from what we eat for breakfast to how we respond to an email, and each depletes our mental and emotional resources. You're more likely to overthink when you're drained and tired, so the more you can eliminate minor decisions, the more energy you'll have for the ones that really matter. Perfectionism is one of the biggest blockers to swift, effective decision making, because it operates on faulty all-or-nothing thinking. For example, perfectionism can lead you to believe that if you don't make the correct choice, as if there was one right option only, then you're a complete failure, or that you must know absolutely everything, anticipate every eventuality, and have a thorough plan in place before moving on to take action. Trying to weigh every possible outcome and consideration is paralysing and can lead to you doing absolutely nothing. Worrying about what other people think and how you might be perceived is really common. Whether you're worried about going to the gym and not lifting as much as the person next to you, or whether you're worried about failing at something because you think people will laugh at you or feel superior to you, overthinking scenarios means you end up taking no risks due to fear of how you think you're being perceived by other people. So now we know some of the signs, causes, and scenarios where overthinking can happen, we can actually stop ourselves from overthinking and stay focused in the moment. Well, as a medic, I was pretty bad at overthinking things and was worried about how people would perceive me. And then I read a book called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. This book literally and metaphorically blew my mind, as at its core, it basically says that your mind is who you actually are and what you do, and then you have your ego, which is a kind of false concept that exists by drawing on external sources. The ego feeds on the past, so who you think you are based on past experiences, and the future, or who you think you want to be based on beliefs and perceptions drawn from external influences. Like your ego, time is also a concept created by the human mind to help us function in the practical world. Clock time, for example, is useful for tasks like scheduling appointments and running a meeting, as well as to learn from the past and set goals for the future. However, time in general is really an illusion. The time at this moment is simply the now. Everything that's ever happened or been created happened in the now. It's the only moment that we ever truly possess. Yet most of us are trapped in the illusion of time. We spend the bulk of our energy reminiscing about the past or hoping for a better future. In the process, we're absent from the present moment. Worse still, we create pain in the present when we unconsciously overthink things and think about the past or the future or what others might be thinking about us. So the first way to really reduce overthinking is to just start to become aware of any negative thought patterns that occur when you do overthink. By thought patterns, I basically mean, do the things you're worrying about have any commonalities? Remember, one of the key problems with overthinking is cognitive fusion, where we just believe the thoughts that pop into our heads without questioning them. So from my own example, like many medics, I had a rule in my head that was basically telling me that if I failed an exam, that was the worst thing in the world, and people would think I was stupid and I'd be outcast from society and have to go and dress like a village idiot or something. In reality, if I failed the exam, I'd have to repeat it, which would be annoying, but not the end of the world. Plus, I'd put in the work, so chances were I'd be fine. The problem was that because of this mental rule about failing an exam, my mind was then just going to the worst case scenarios all the time. So if you can spot any common rules or mental patterns, you can start to apply logic to them and stop overthinking in the act. But what about preventing overthinking altogether? Well, to do that, we need to train our brains to stay in the present moment. I didn't think that was really possible, but The Power of Now has a really great exercise which involves mindful meditation where you simply try to meditate and remain in the present moment. Now, what happens is that as soon as you relax, loads and loads of thoughts come rushing into your brain, but the practice says to simply acknowledge these and go back to focusing on the present. The aim of the game is to go longer and longer without letting a thought creep in each time. It sounds a little bit weird, but it definitely works, and I was able to train my brain to stop thinking altogether, and I'll pop a link down in the comments below so that you can try out the exercise too. Another great tip is to understand that trying to control things beyond your reach is of no use at all. There's no point in trying to change others or their behaviour towards you and thinking about how the past could have been different if you did something instead. The sooner you understand this, you'll save yourself a heck of a lot of time and you can allocate that time for more productive things. When you overthink situations, you often create imaginary fears and consider disastrous scenarios unlikely to play out in real life. If you don't take a closer look at these scenarios, they may keep you from trying new things. So next time you catch yourself overthinking a situation, ask yourself, what's the worst thing that could happen? For instance, if you've got a job interview and start stressing out about it and overthinking it, what's the worst thing that could possibly happen if you failed it? You need to apply for more jobs. Like, so what? It doesn't really matter. Now, while you can't control everything, there are some circumstances where taking positive action will completely resolve a situation. You may have heard of the term analysis paralysis. It's brought on by overanalyzing or overthinking situations constantly. Moreover, overanalyzing a problem that troubles you will only hold you back from taking the correct action. If you catch yourself overthinking a situation which you can change, then you must act. This is most true for procrastination and worrying about things like studying. Set yourself a time limit of a few seconds or minutes from when you realise you need to get something done, and then force yourself to take action as soon as possible. When you constantly overthink, you become prone to believe that there's always a perfect moment for everything. This leads to procrastination and stress through perfectionism. For instance, if you want to start your own YouTube channel, it would be easy to overthink questions like, what if I don't have the time? What if I don't get any subscribers? Do I even have the potential to start this? Thinking about these things will lead you to give up on the idea before you even start. There's never a perfect time to do anything, whether starting a YouTube channel, falling in love, writing a book, or anything else. In fact, there's an old popular Chinese proverb that says the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the second best time is right now. Basically, this means that if you want success and growth in the future, the best time to act is now in the present moment, and you can't go back 20 years no matter how much you overthink things, so you just need to get on and do it rather than putting it off any longer. Overthinking prevents you from doing things no matter how much you want to do them. Remembering that there's never a perfect time for anything will put you at ease in situations like these. Now, one of the quickest ways to beat negative overthinking is to grab a paper and pen and make a list of your thoughts as they happen. When you recognise your overwhelming thoughts, writing them down will help you to avoid stressing out over the negativity. After writing down what you're worried about, firstly add the phrase, I am thinking about, before that thought. This is a little cognitive therapy trick that helps to separate who you are as a person from the actual thought that you're having. Next, create another column next to this and note down what you can do to the things that you're worrying about. If there's something that you can do about it, write it down and give yourself a time limit to action it. If not, remember there's nothing more you can do, and remember that you can't control everything. Learning the art of introspection will help you to stop overthinking and realise that it's not helping you out in any way. Now, the final and probably most important way to stop overthinking is to just focus on yourself. The spotlight effect is the psychological phenomenon by which people tend to believe they're being noticed way more than they really are. If you're at the gym and worried about people judging you for lifting less than them, or you're at a party and you're worried about what people are thinking about you, in reality, no one actually cares because they're so obsessed and worried about what they themselves are doing. A lot of the time, the people we think are judging us are just some random strangers or people who we aren't even close with, so why even bother stressing about their opinions? You're not a cave person, so you're not going to be outcast from a tribe, so focus on yourself, take risks, look stupid, fail and grow, and just give up worrying about the opinions of other people that you don't care about. Now, most of us overthink certain situations throughout our lives, and it's perfectly okay. However, if your overthinking becomes a habit, it will take some time to learn how to prevent this habit from taking over your life. If you follow these simple steps laid out in this video, it will help you to do just that. All in all, it's vital to understand that you don't have to control every aspect of your life, and you don't have to be perfect all the time. Once you accept that many things are outside of your control, you'll be close to solving your overthinking problem. So what do you reckon? Are you an overthinker? Do let me know in the comments down below. Just don't overthink it. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. I've put up a really great video that you should definitely check out on journaling and being grateful, which is another great strategy to help you combat any negative self-talk. For more videos like this one, do consider hitting that subscribe button and clicking that notification bell, and I'll catch you again in the next one.